Memoir essay. A few names and details altered. Any resemblance to fictional characters merely coincidental. J. What made you the way you are? Coming abruptly and off subject, this both jarred and amused me. How would I know? My stepdaughter seemed serious and intense. She was always both loving and perceptive. I laughed, considered briefly, and then shrugged and said, "Time, chance, and heredity, dear." It ruffled me, though, and I mulled it over as I drove away from the hotel. But much later, trying to answer it for myself, I fixed on a time that more than any other helped to form me. The fall and winter of 1945, spring and summer of 1946. Many times I'd sat late thinking of that stressful period of dramatic change in my life, the life of my family, and for our nation, the beginning of a long era of real politic and presidential wars. Now long retired, I live alone in this forest valley with my dogs and a few helps, kerosene lamps, a typewriter, books, a battery radio for news and weather warnings. I try to sum up my emotional life in those crucial months and tell of those who affected me most deeply. My father and stepmother, T.M. and Vida, Harold, Jack, Zach, plus others, even an animal or two, the Jenny Mules, my dog Brownie. During those months I came more fully alive, began to savor and hold in mind certain happenings that lent meaning and taught life lessons, stressed and strengthened me. I yearned fruitlessly for a girl, but also learned to cherish a human or a landscape for themselves, their unique values. I also learned that caring deeply for the singular could not alone save it, that often malign human action caused the loss. I began to suspect this as a small child. Experience confirmed it. So ever since Annie's query provoked me, I've been dusting off Rembrandt amber chunks of memory, peering again into those times and events for the birth of identity and personality, and also trying to honor an old vow to Harold's memory. On a snowy night in January 1943, my father brought us to Hilltop, some tourist cabins on the ridge at the east end of the dam site on the North Fork River. This was the next to last move in our family's hopscotch trail through the Depression 30s and feverish wartime 40s. From the home farm in eastern Kansas, my birthplace in 1930, T.M. took us to the southwest Missouri Ozarks, 1932-34, back to eastern Kansas, 1934-36, down to the East Texas oil fields, 1936-38, then on to pre-war defense sites in South Mississippi, 1938-39, and to coastal Alabama, 1940-41. In late 1941, the Pearl Harbor attack coincided with the end of the Brookley Field work contract. Dad's decision to move us away from the coast became final when a patrol plane landed at Brookley, shot up in a duel with a German submarine. T.M. quickly built a small house trailer and moved us up country to Harrison in the northwestern Ozarks of Arkansas. I was as happy with the town and setting at Harrison as I had been on the bayfront at Mobile. I rambled the hilly terrain and fished a sparkling little river. Besides, at Mobile, the housing shortage had us living in a wood-floored army tent just yards from the airfield entrance. But in Harrison, we moved into a partly furnished house with a select small library. I read avidly, my first real exposure to books such as Hardy's Far from the Madding Crowd, Gauchier's Sappho, A Life of Benjamin Disraeli. And then after a year or two, T.M.'s job with the local coal and butane firm ended when his boss moved away with serious health problems. With few jobs in the area, T.M. made inquiries, loaded up the trailer soon after Christmas, and whisked us off to the nearest large construction site, the dam. As the move from Harrison loomed, I wanted to beg Dad for the first time to find some way to stay. I was almost ill from lack of continuity, stability. I'd also fallen into love or fascination with a lovely blonde I followed part way home each day from school. I spoke to her for the only time to tell her we were leaving.